everybody? Monday, August 16th. First, just to remind you, I sent out the new issue of MMT Trader. If you want a copy of that, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial. So, early this morning when markets were down, I sent an email out to my subscribers saying, like, you know, this is the Afghanistan news. It's chaotic. You know, you've seen all the headlines, and, you know, I could do multiple videos on this about how the situation is, number one, so tragic. Tragic in so many ways. $6.5 trillion spent, 20 years. You know, so many lives lost. I mean, if you think about it, just, you know, from an economic perspective, we can't even get an infrastructure deal here because the question is always asked, how are we going to pay for it? But yet pouring $6.5 trillion into this, you know, backward wasteland of a country, this useless war that costs so many lives. I mean, it is just, that's the real outrage. The real outrage is the time and the treasure spent over there, the lives destroyed. And it's another example of the United States really with no diplomacy. Our mission always is to go and bomb, and coming out with a loss, just like Vietnam and so many other misadventures. This country is about this sham, this complete ridiculousness of nation building. Build a nation here. You know, there's plenty that we could build here. Anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent in this Afghanistan thing, but the markets were way down this morning, and I said, you know, to be very cold about this, you know, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of an investor or trading these markets, I mean, nothing has changed here in terms of the fiscal flows, the support to the economy. And I said we're going to have a rebound, and it may be the beginning of a significant move higher, because it's the classic trading move. I mean, people will not understand amid the chaos and what looks like a complete collapse of U.S. leadership, you know, in the world globally. With the market going up, it's going to be another one of those situations where people are just left scratching their heads. And those types of situations are, you know, the perfect environments for extended rallies, because that's literally, you know, climbing up the wall of worry. That you've maybe heard that phrase before on Wall Street, the market climbs the wall of worry. So I said, you know, by that opening, it was down. We ended up new highs in the S&P and the Dow, and NASDAQ made back most of its losses. The other thing, bond yields. I've been telling you this. You know, it's not even about the Fed anymore. It's about an historic level of bank reserves, just so much cash in the system. That is like gravity pulling yields down. And yes, today, obviously, the bonds got a bid off of, you know, the flight to safety trade because of the Afghanistan situation, and everybody was panicking and everybody was freaking out. But bond yields were gonna come down nonetheless because of the monetary conditions right now. I mean, it's just, and again, I've made this comparison so many times that it's absolutely insane that you look at Italian bond yields and Portuguese bond yields and Spanish bond yields and Greek bond yields, and they're significantly lower than the US. But again, that might come down to the fact that, you know, every couple of years we threaten default. Now, that default scenario, when I'm talking about the debt ceiling, that still is out there. And Yellen said she could probably operate on these extraordinary measures until October. But come October, if these morons in Congress don't get together and raise the debt ceiling or suspend it, then we are going to be in a situation where, you know, this country has never been before, where literally the government will be unable to meet some payments. So technically a default, you can call it that, absolutely. And it's hard to say what the market reaction is going to be at that time if that happens, but I would have to say if that results in a reduction in the fiscal flows, and that seems logical, because if you can't make the payments, right, that's going to result in a reduction in the fiscal flows, then you're going to have trouble with the economy. So we have until October, until we see what happens there. Hopefully they get their act together and they raise the debt ceiling, but right now the political situation in the Senate and even in the House among, you got Democrats that are defecting now from Pelosi, and you got these centrists who they don't want to raise the debt ceiling. So I mean it looks problematic, to say the least. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But right now, again, if you want, I'm just going to be purely clinical about this whole thing. I mean, I can do a geopolitical video. I can do a political video on the situation, the tragedy in Afghanistan, and the failure of our leadership in this country going back for 50 years now. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay clinical. I'm going to talk about market fundamentals. I'm going to talk about economic fundamentals. Right now, it is positive. All right, the fiscal flows are supportive, and I think, at least from a sentiment point of view, we have seen a buildup in negative sentiment, in bearish sentiment, and again, this to me is the perfect setup for a catapult launch in the market, because people are going to be looking at this and they're going to be saying, how can the market go up when we have all this chaos going on around the world? This to me is like very kind of similar to when we had the pandemic, and I saw very, savvy players at that time scratching their heads, not understanding why the market wasn't reacting to what they saw visually in terms of the pandemic and the shutdowns. They completely ignored or they weren't aware of the massive, unprecedented fiscal support that pushed things up. So another one of these situations perhaps developing. We saw it today in this turnaround in the market, and I think the market's going to have some momentum off of this. Anyway, all the numbers are in my report today. Go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. Get on that list. See you tomorrow. Bye.